The CFA Franc is the common currency to roughly 155 million inhabitants in francophone Africa. But the demand for a new legal tender among the masses across francophone Africa is growing by the day. Protests have held sway recently in Cameroon, Senegal and Benin against the legal tender, which demonstrators say is an hindrance to socio-economic and political development of their nations.
Our correspondent in the U.S., Irene Armen, spoke to the ECOWAS Commission President Marcel de Souza. He first asked him if there will be a possible exit by francophone countries in Africa using the CFA francs that has caused quite some controversy. We have foreseen that the task force charged by the head of state for the creation of the single currency will meet in October in Niamey because President Issoufou is the president of our task force. The monetary policy has been projected since 1987 to ensure that states have a single currency. We have 8 central banks, but the West African Economic and Monetary Union is an island today, not to doubt the inflation experienced there. The growth is under control. We have countries like Ivory Coast, which for 4 years has had a growth rate of 9%. You won't have it anywhere else. Secondly, we have the Stability and Growth Pact, for which we need to coordinate the monetary policy, budgetary policy, debt policy, and the taxation policy. And UMOA is getting good results. So, on the other hand, it was planned that we would create the WAMS, the West African Monetary Zone, consisting of the large Anglophone countries. And together with the UMOA Commission, the two will go to a merger to create a single monetary zone. We could not create the WAMS in 2015. The single currency is expected in 2020. We cannot create it. Nigeria, which is our driving force, is in recession. Growth at the end of December is at -1.5%. On average, inflation reached 18%. Ghana has very high inflation, so under these conditions, we cannot create a currency. If you create the currency, you have to go, but you have to go without haste and diversify our base and show that we are moving towards a convergence of our policies. And we are sure that in 7 years, 10 years' time, we can have a single currency capable of being stable.
Mr. De Souza also compared the CFA franc used in in francophone African regions with other currencies on the continent.
The CFA francs is better off in relation to the heart regions, and so why do you want to destroy it? The only thing that can be blamed on the CFA franc is that from the point of view of credibility to the economy, we are at 23%, close to the GDP, whereas elsewhere it reaches 75%, and that's a caution. But it's said that we put these reserves in France, the French treasury. Our reserves in relation to the money supply of France are 0.002. We do not represent much. And then when I give the example, a Senegalese farmer, he exports for 10 billion kilos of peanut, but he's paid in CFA francs. But the dollars remain in our common pool. 50% remain with the French treasury, and 50% go to the Central Bank of West African states, where we have a chamber of markets. And so we cannot say that we are putting money in reserves because the money is already circulating. It is forbidden to circulate the money twice.
Faire circuler 2 fois l'argent, c'est interdit.
And Marcel de Souza also explained how the CFA francs remains an acceptable currency.
C'est la monnaie acceptable.
It is the acceptable currency, acceptable that can allow us to have convertibility, to have activities, but we need to diversify our economy, to be able to launch SMEs and SMIs, and to create above all the middle class, and to improve the fight against poverty. If you look at the basics are doing pretty well. We have a monetary coverage rate that is between 75 and 100%. That is to say, all that we have as reserve covers our money supply, that's to say metallic currency and scriptural currency to the height of 75 to 100%. So it's a better currency, but if we do not have anything else to replace it, we keep this in the meantime and go to the single currency that we will create. It could be created in 7 or 10 years' time.
And finally, he gave his take on the currency and offered some words of advice to those calling for the end of its use.
No,
they are monetary apprentices who don't understand. I even see professors who say that we give our money to France, we never go towards development, which is not true. Do they want currencies such as, at the outset, I remind you that the naira, $1 was equal to a naira. Today, $1 is about 363, 365 naira. The currency split. Money is exactly like football. Those who are on the ground, the 11 players, when they play well, the goalkeeper is the currency. He does not suffer too much, but the goalkeeper has to be excellent. If the defenders do not play their role, he will take the goals. And that's the real problem.